I hope everybody had a great Christmas. Got the new year coming soon. Again, like I haven't seen you guys since the Giants week. I thought, really the Giants week and last week we put together some really, really good defensive football. I think we got a lot of guys playing at a high level. Having a lot of fun out there, and we're, talking about tackling and communication and pass rush and turnovers and all those things kind of, showing up for us on film. Specific to, Detroit, I thought the crowd was electric. It was a great atmosphere. I think they really, gave us an advantage in the game in what was a tough divisional game. And kind of, I thought that was our winning edge as far as, putting us over the top. Obviously, a big test this week. We want to finish the season strong. To have an opportunity to finish with a winning record, I think would be a great accomplishment for us based on, the ups and downs of the season. So, I'm really going to put everything into this week, and it's going to be a huge challenge. Green Bay. They're, I know there's speculation on who's going to play, who's not going to play. Matt's going to have them ready to go. Whoever's out there, he's done a great job. With whoever's been in there his entire career. Willis is playing well. Obviously, who knows if Jordan Love, where he is, if he plays. Obviously, he's been playing at a high level as well. But they got good backs, good receivers, tight ends. The line's playing, so line's playing well. They're at the top of the statistical, and really a lot of the major statistical categories. I think they're playing well. So we got to have a great week of practice, preparation, and like always, try to put our best foot forward on Sunday. Lastly, obviously, there's been a lot of talk about my personal situation and next year. Look, I've said this many times. I've loved my time here in Minnesota. My family loves it. The state of Minnesota has been tremendous to me, and I know KO mentioned there's been great dialogue, and there has. And now we'll just kind of let the club and my representation handle the rest. And so that's kind of where I'm at on that. I don't, as you guys know, don't like talking about myself. I think our players are doing a lot of great things on the field, and I don't want to take away from them in any way. I think if anything, they deserve all of the recognition. I certainly don't play, as you guys know. And so, with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Coach, I know it's a small sample size, but if Jordan Love doesn't play, just what have you seen from Malik Willis that he's doing well?
Yeah, I think I thought he played great last week. I thought he, in the past game, obviously he's, always been a threat. As far as his quarterback mobility and ability to extend plays and make off-script plays, but I think he's throwing the ball really well. And really, any time he's had to go in there for whatever reason, obviously normally injury, he's gone in and played well and given them a chance to win. So it'll be a challenge for sure, and it's different than Jordan Love, obviously. And you have to game plan it differently. So there's some certainly some things in the I would say the quarterback run game we've got to be alert and ready for, and we've got to do a great job. Keeping them in the pocket and not letting them extend plays on pass plays. Now, in order to get to those situations, we've got to do a good job in the run game, which they've done a good job as far as, whether it's Wilson or Brooks or Jacobs, whether he plays or not. They got good backs, good O-line, good tight ends. So it'll be a challenge.
So from a defensive coordinator perspective, do you think you'll wait and see what's out there for you?
Again, Kev, I really would like to put the focus on the players. It's never about me and my personal situation, and so again, I'll let my representation in the club kind of handle all those things. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
From the potential being head coach, speaking with a few interviews last year, if that comes up again, how do you approach that? Openness or interest in being head coach?
Yeah, being even talked about from that standpoint, look, there's only 32 of those jobs, and to be talked about is an honor from that standpoint. And if those opportunities present themselves, I'll talk to my family, I'll talk to my my agent, and we'll kind of move forward from there. But like I said, my focus is right here, right now. And this team and these players, and I asked them to put everything into a week, and in order to do that, I got to do that myself. And so that's what I'm going to do. That's kind of how I operate, and I think as far as the future, it's always about timing and right opportunities and things of that nature. But I'll get to that if it presents itself down the road.
Have you brought it up with the team and your players at all? Something you're singularly focused on?
Oh, they know. They know. Week to week, they know that I'm singularly focused, and it's all about Green Bay this week, and last week was all about Detroit. It honestly doesn't come up because they know the answer they're going to get. Similar to the answer I'm giving you guys, that I'm not, I think it would be a disservice to them, which, the players are everything to me. It would be a disservice to them to be thinking about, my situation when, we've got a big game and, coming up. And, again, we were 4-8 a few weeks ago. It was, it was tough times. And now, we kind of strung some games together because we've stayed the course and stuck together and not worried about anything that's outside of, our building. And that's how you turn things around. And so, I'm going to stay right there.
When you communicate with your representation, what is it that you want? What do you convey in terms of what you want in those conversations?
I tell them I want to win this week, That's what I tell them. I want to win this week, and then we can talk about, whatever after that. And, again, look, we only have so much energy, so if we put, a lot of that into something else, then it's less for, the Packers and, everything they're going to bring to the table. So that was,
Do you want to come back?
Do I want to come back?
Like Minnesota next year?
I mean, like I just said, I love Minnesota. I love this team. I love working, for and with KO. He's been fantastic to me. I think the Wolves are some of the best owners in the league. I love these players, the coaching staff, And like I said, this place has shown me a lot of love, and I show it right back. And so I don't know how much more there is to it. I mean, it's if everything lines up and it fits, from a football standpoint, it fits, And I think there's always a, let's call it a business part of this, and the football all lines up, and we'll just see where it all goes.
Why do you think this defense has been as consistent as it's been kind of in the back half of the season?
I think it's time on task, reps, getting a feel for a good feel for the strengths and weaknesses of different players, who does what well. I think we all kind of understand how we want to play, what gives the offenses problems, and then just our techniques, our fundamentals, our tackling, our pass rush, our coordination on all of those things. And I think the guys are having a good time. I think they're having fun, being aggressive, and they've got a lot of ownership on what happens on the field. And for me, sometimes I'm sitting here going, I wouldn't have done that, but it's up to them. They got the keys to the car, per se, and they're doing a great job with it. And so I think that part of it is a big piece, that ownership that we try to give them. And I think they're just flying around having fun.
Harrison made it clear that was one of those fun times he's ever had playing a football game, 200 plus now. I was wondering
Yeah, it was. I kind of take them. The next one or the last one is my favorite one. But it was a fun game to coach. Again, like I said, the atmosphere was incredible. I think for me, being, to give those guys to make the adjustments in the game for them, they went down the field on the long drive, and within the drive, I was already starting to make adjustments, in my head as far as how we needed to play, or what the next call needed to be, to try to get those guys stopped, and I knew that I could, convey that information to, Harrison and Theo and Murph and Cash and E-Dub, and they would get it right. And, we had a lot of conversation about that at halftime. So I think the growth of this team and their football IQ, and their techniques and fundamentals, I think watching that all kind of come to fruition, in game, and really over the last, I would say, 6 weeks, we've been playing some pretty good defense. It's been a great experience. It's been fun to be a part of. We have a high standard in that room, and they're reaching it and exceeding it, I would say. But there's never been a perfect game, and so we continue to strive to get better, and the guys will continue to work at it, and hopefully they take that same approach this week, against a division opponent. Last one at home, last one of the season. I talk to them all the time. This isn't basketball or baseball where you can go out and play the game whenever you want. You get 17 opportunities that are guaranteed. So let's take advantage of it. It's just not like the other sports. You can't go play tennis with, you're not going to line up and put a helmet on. It's just not, you're not going to do that on a regular day. And so it's a privilege. It's an honor to play and coach in this league. We don't take it for granted, and I think they'll do as much as they can to prepare and have a good time out there, have fun out there.
Last couple.
What did you think about just Harrison's game, and the way he communicated, the way he playmakes, and then seeing him get that kind of moment towards the end of it?
I thought he played fantastic. He did. I think he played fantastic. Now there's a couple plays that he and I both know that I wish he had back and he wishes he had back, but that's the game. But to watch him run around there, knock passes down, blitz, the interception he had is something we talked about as a staff. I think Durante, I can't give him enough credit for the job he does, in the secondary. Really with that entire group. Same with Mike Saravo. We just lost Hutch. Let me take this time to congratulate Mike Hutchings on being named Cal's defensive coordinator. I think it's a great accomplishment for him. I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but 3 years ago when we met Mike Hutch, as we call him, it was pretty easy to see this guy's going to he's going places, as some would say, and he's certainly I would call him a rising star in this league in college NFL. So we got a lot of really good guys on our staff. I mean, I think we have some future coordinators. I think Saravo's a future coordinator. I think Durante's a future coordinator, and I know a lot of people kind of think it's all me. It certainly isn't. Those guys, they put a lot of work in. I tell them all the time, I don't care where a good idea comes from, and they present them, and we go out there and coach it, and the players execute it. So, I mean, I can't give those guys enough credit.
What was it like for you to see Marshall from Harrison?
This game brings that out of you. It does. I think he's probably thinking about his time here, but even going back to the very beginnings. There's a limited amount of time that you can play, and I don't know what his future holds, but as you get older, there's you're in the kind of back half. There's less time there than there's more time. You know, it's not like you're a rookie and you got everything in front of you. Look, Harrison Smith is one of the best players I've ever been around. He's one of the smartest players I've ever been around. I've been around a few, you know, some really good ones. And, you know, he's brought so much to this organization. He plays the game the right way, and to a purist of the game, someone who loves every facet of it. I just think he's one of the best that I've been around, and I'm happy for him. I'm excited for him. You know, if I stood up here long enough, I'd probably get emotional too, but I try not to let anyone see that. But he's one of the best players I've been around, best people I've been around. So I'm excited to kind of finish the season with him on Sunday.
What's the biggest thing you learned from the time that you've gotten to know?
I mean, I've learned a lot from him as far as how a player can see the game on the field, how, you know, one guy can, you know, kind of give me a sense of what guys are either struggling with or what they thrive in, and to me that's a weapon as a coach that, you know, oftentimes we don't use enough. You know, we kind of go off of, hey, when I played, and you know, but the game's a little bit different now, and every player's different, and you know, what they see on the field is different than what we see from the sideline, and I like to see it through his lens. And we've got a great dialogue and communication that we, you know, over 3 years have. You know, I don't know if you noticed, but you know, we really talk between every series. And it's what check what are you thinking about? What do you want to call? And I'm like, well, what do you want to call? And you know, there's a good back and forth there. And you know, what are you seeing? Here's what I'm seeing. I think we can get them with this. And sometimes it's okay, we do it, and it's been a great kind of, you know, coach player dynamic. And yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.